Hi, sophomores. Welcome to your first official release for multimedia design. In this release, we're really going to be focusing on giving you an introduction to Adobe Audition. And Adobe Audition is something that has already been installed in your computers, and it's something that the university pays for. So when you go to make your assignment, you are going to go in your search bar and you're going to look up for Adobe Audition. When you click on it, it is going to prompt you to sign up or sign in into Adobe Audition. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using your Whisk email. You're probably wondering, what is that? So that is your net ID, and then you just add at whisk.edu. So if you've seen our emails, like for example, mine, it's npicon@whisk.edu. So when it asks for your email address, it's going to be your netid at whisk.edu. Do not, under any circumstances, use a different email address, because if you do use a different email address, it is going to prompt you to pay for the subscription into Adobe. And that's not something we want you to do. So university is already paying for this. So all you have to do is, again, use your netid at whisk.edu. So that's your Whisk email in order to sign up for this. If you have any questions about this, please reach out before you put in a different email. So let me tell you a little bit about what Adobe Audition is and why we're going to be using it. So this is an audio workstation. So it's an opportunity for people to mix, to edit, to create, to explore, to master different audio projects. So you get an opportunity to kind of play around with the recordings that you have and either make music, or turn it into a podcast, or turn it into a poem, or turn it into a song. So Audition comes with a lot of different pre-recorded instruments that you can add into your own recording. And it also allows you to edit your recordings right on the spot. So you're able to change the volume of it. You're able to cut parts out that you maybe didn't like. You're able to add to it. You're able to fade in and fade out, add background music, our sound effects. So it's a really cool opportunity to explore all of the things that you can do with audio. And that is exactly what we want you to do with Audition. So on your Canvas course, you will notice that you have a video that walks you through an overview of Adobe Audition. So it is going to tell you where everything is located, how to bring files in, how do you use the tools, what do all the screens mean, how to save things, how to export things. So that video is going to give you a broad overview of Audition. So that's a video that you have to watch in order to better understand why we're using this program and how to use this program. Once you have done this, you are going to practice mastering. So there is already a file for you to download that you're going to take into Adobe Audition, and you're going to practice how to add mastering to that song. The reason why we start you with mastering is because we want you to just get a very simple overview of how to use the tools, where to find the tools, how to bring a file in, and then how to export that file. And we have found that this is the easiest way to understand that. So that is why you're going to be starting with a mastering. Once you complete that, you will be turning in the MP3 mastered file back into Canvas. Now, once you do that, you're going to watch a multi-track editing how-to. Let me tell you a little bit about what multi-track editing means. So in Audition, you have the option to edit a singular track, so a singular wavelength of sound, or you have the option to multi-track edit. And just like the name says, multi-track editing allows you to edit multiple tracks at once. So it gives every audio its own place for it. So in channel 1, you may have your song. In channel 2, you may have your voice singing it. In channel 3, you may have the background singers. In channel 4, you may have the drums. In channel 5, you may have a violin, or whatever you want to have in your music. So it allows you to have a multitude of channels, and each channel can hold its own audio. The reason why this is important is because having every audio in its own channel allows you to edit things individually and not have them apply to all. So let's say, for instance, that you notice that when you recorded, your voice was not loud enough. You can go into that channel and raise the volume, and it is not going to affect the volume of the other channels. So this is a really good way to have big projects like a podcast or a song or a poem and edit these. So you're going to watch a video that is going to walk you through how do you use this? How do you bring the files in? How do you edit multiple files at once? And the reason why I want you to watch this is because you're going to be creating your own mini podcast. And so this podcast should be anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, and it should just be a singular episode. You can pick any topic you want to for your podcast. Just make sure that you are keeping it school environment appropriate. I did give you a couple suggestions in the assignment overview of different things that you may want to do. So you're going to pick a topic. You're going to create a plan. You're going to record your episode, and you can do this on your phone. You can do this on your computer. Once you record your episode, I left you a couple resources on how to transfer your audio recording from your phone to your computer if you need help with this. Then you're going to edit your episode in Adobe Audition. So you may choose to add background music to the intro. You may choose to have sound effects in different spots of your podcast episode. It's whatever you want it to be. And then you are going to export this and submit the MP3 to Canvas. This is just an opportunity for you to get a taste of what creating a podcast is like, and we're calling it a mini podcast because it's not that long of an episode. We just want you to try this out, see what it feels like, learn. I highly suggest that you watch a podcast or listen to a podcast to kind of inspire this so you learn kind of what makes a good podcast. I am going to give you a couple tips on how do you make a good podcast. So first, most podcasts start with an original idea. You have an organized plan that you're going to follow so that things don't seem like they are all over the place. You have good storytelling, so you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there's a climax in your story to keep your listeners engaged. This podcast should be something that is engaging, that it's going to want to keep people listening, that they're going to listen from beginning to the end. And then you typically have a pretty invested host. So the host very much believes in the story they're telling or in the guests that they are interviewing. And so they make it very engaging. They interact with the guests, they interact with the audience. And so if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to a podcast before, I would first start there. I would listen to a podcast or watch a video podcast on YouTube and try to get some ideas and figure out kind of what they do that makes them have a good episode, and try to recreate that for yourself. So this is the overall timeline on how you're going to complete this release. So you should be watching all of the videos. You should be looking at all of the resources. You should be completing all of your work, and you should be asking any questions if you need help. So again, we are having student hours on Wednesdays from 6 to 7. So stop by if you have any questions, if you need extra help, if maybe you need help coming up with an idea, or if maybe you don't know if your idea is good for your podcast, just come on student hours and ask us. Let me show you kind of what your Canvas is going to look like for this release. So you have your release one video, which you're watching right now. You do have your presentation in case you need to look it over. Then right here, you have your overview of Audition, and that is going to walk you through everything you need to know. Sometimes when you play these videos, they're going to look a little bit grainy, and what you do to fix that is you go to settings, quality, and you make it the highest quality, and it's going to give you a better video. But right here, you can see what it is going to cover. Then you have a video on how to master in Audition. And again, it shows you exactly what it is going to cover. And you can again change the quality settings in order to have a higher quality video that does not look as grainy. And then you will see right here you can click on master audio and you're going to download that. This is your mastering practice assignment. It is going to tell you what and why we're doing this, the skills to use and develop, the materials you're going to need, how I'm going to be grading this, and the steps to follow in order to complete this. If you watch the how to master, it is going to pretty much do the assignment. So I highly recommend that you watch and do the assignment in conjunction because it is going to help you. Then you have a video going through how to multi-track edit, and that is going to help you once you record your podcast, edit it, and get a full podcast. You do have resources on how to transfer voice memos from your iPhone to a computer if you need that. There's also an external link to a video in case you need that as well. And then you have your assignment, so your mini podcast practice. So I left you some suggestions on topics. You have, again, your skills to use and develop, your materials, the grading, and then the steps to complete. And you can see right here that you will be submitting an MP3 file. Again, just like I showed you in your introduction module, you do have things that you have to complete. So anything that you see that has a view or a submit are assignments that you have to complete in order for your next release to open when that release is ready. You could also Google if you have any questions on how to transfer your voice memos that maybe those two resources don't cover. You may be able to find the answer on Google, or you can come into student hours and we can help you do that. All of your assignments will be due on October 13th at 11:59 p.m. So that is a Sunday at 11:59. Highly encourage you to not wait until the last minute to complete these assignments so that you give enough time to plan your podcast and to record your episode, and then stop by student hours if you have any questions. So that is all that I had for you in this release. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next release.